April Fools yesterday.
Yeah, April Fools.
Probably felt like it,
My April Fools joke is that everything that you've seen the last week has been a joke. Just
right?
just
That'd be
kidding. I
hilarious.
wish. I wish
Fooled you.
it would be a that would be funny.
No, I think ironically instead the joke's on Cal.
Yeah, I that is very true. And Nifty. Nifty's been going through it with me. Um,
Oh yeah, Nifty's getting smoked.
yeah.
Take
Um,
it, take it, take it, take it, take it.
it's literally insane the amount of tickets, but it's I decided like let's go through all the pain all at once and just get it over with, finally put an end date to the sunsetting of some of these old projects, and so we can move on, and LeoDex is about to go live whenever Maya pushes the 109 upgrade. um is when we're going to push LeoDex live, and then obviously Leo will be listed on Maya. So it's a lot of really positive things happening, and obviously this sunsetting program I think is ultimately a positive thing. It's getting people made as whole as possible in this transitionary time. And not every project you do succeeds, and that's what, if you guys want to go read a 20-minute read blog post that I wrote, I think I published it on Saturday or something. um I talk about the sunsetting and lessons learned and all of the things related to DeFi summer, and how we got caught up in it and built these protocols with an aim to build value for the Leo economy, but ultimately, the models for them just didn't work. And we tried everything we could, launched new contracts, updated the UIs, spent countless hours and resources to try and make those, Cub and PolyCub and BHBD, Beehive work, but ultimately, I just think they're flawed and won't work. Um, and it's important that we, sunset those things as we move into this phase of LeoDex, which is going to be, like I said, live when 109 goes live on Maya. So we're just kind of waiting on their team. Um, and when LeoDex goes live, I think you guys will see the power of what we've built and all the lessons that we took from BHBD, especially, and Beehive, and it's really incredible. It's L1 native Hive swaps with any other L1 native token or asset. It's really, when the first time I did a successful swap, because obviously we've been testing it a lot, my mind was really blown. It's like, all right, I can take as little as you know, 50 Hive and I can convert it into Bitcoin, or vice versa. I can take $50 worth of Bitcoin and buy, whatever it is, like 120 Hive or whatever the conversion would be right now. Um, and I can do it, permissionlessly, completely on L1, native swapping rails. And it's really amazing. So it's like I said, a lot of lessons learned from the projects we've done in the past. This is why I'm a big believer in just the way that life kind of unfolds is like, you try things and you're constantly learning and absorbing information, and some of the things you do work, some of the things you do don't work. But I think the key to, living a good life, and obviously, building a good business as well, is to take the lessons from each, failure or shortcoming, and, use those lessons as the stepping stones for what comes next. So, in my opinion, there were a lot of flaws in the whole multi-token bridge and Cub PolyCub model. Just to kind of give like the highlight reel, like the big ones. I think liquidity mining is a flawed model, and that's pretty obvious because 99.9% of all liquidity mining protocols, so that's all the forks of like Pancake Swap, which are like Cub, PolyCub, and Pancake Bunny and all these other projects. Literally, almost all of them, except for like the big five, have completely gone under. Most of them are worth absolutely like $0. Cub and PolyCub still maintain to be worth, or managed to be worth like $100,000 market caps, but obviously trending downwards, spiraling downwards. So that whole liquidity mining thing doesn't work. So with LeoDex, we have learned from that, and the way we're learning from that is that there is no liquidity mining. We're using other L1 rails, to incentivize pools and to build pools. So, for example, like other than the Leo Cacao pool, we don't have to build any liquidity pools. So that was like the major downfall of Cub and PolyCub was that we had to build our own liquidity pools, find liquidity, and grow that and incentivize that liquidity. And our community is too small. There's not enough capital to ultimately reach this like kind of escape velocity that I kept trying to get us to. So there wasn't.
So
Go ahead.
with that said, then the Leo Cacao liquidity pool, one can essentially stake that and earn yield.
Yeah. So
They want
the
to
way
provide
that
liquidity.
the way that yield on Maya primarily works, and same thing with Thorchain, is that it's the primary source of yield is from trading volume. So that is like organic. I would separate organic from synthetic yield. So the way I would define synthetic yield would be uh, liquidity mining rewards, where inflation is created and paid out to liquidity providers. So, synthetic yield can be good, but I think if it's the majority of the yield, then it becomes a problem. And you see that with all the different, DeFi platforms that were launched in DeFi summer, including Cub and PolyCub, is like a major flaw is like if you're paying out, 20% APR and 19% or even all 20% is coming from inflation, you're obviously going to grind down to zero over the long haul. But the
Hashtag
difference,
US dollar.
just like the US dollar, yeah, that's right. Um, but the difference between that and like what Maya and Thorchain are doing is that they're building these L1 rails where there is, real adoption and a real use case to swap L1 assets. And instead of having like these, 50% APRs, they've got smaller APRs. Sometimes it actually does get up to 50% just depending on volume. But it's organic yield. It's not synthetic. So I think that's kind of a big game changer here is that when you've got organic yield being paid to liquidity providers, being the primary source of yield, that is a lot more sustainable. So you'll see also that like Maya and Thorchain, their number one issue is getting more liquidity because they're not paying these absorbent, like wild APRs to get providers to bring liquidity. So they're doing it from an organic point of view, which is a much slower way to grow, but it's a much more sustainable and healthy way to grow. So that is the primary source of incentive to be it's going to be a Arbitrum Leo dash Cacao liquidity provider. Um,
So it's truly basically what I used to explain liquidity pools to normies, where it's funny because it wasn't the majority, but it's basically essentially truly being a market maker because the fees are essentially, I mean, the
fees are how you
yield
get
is
paid.
basically from the fees,
Exactly. Yeah. So you
and that
are.
can ebb and flow. But I rather have that because that's true to real earnings, not a made up number based on inflation that's just going to inflate away the token.
Exactly. Yeah, it is a real number. It's a reliable number, and it's based on real metrics and real adoption. So, if your pool gets no adoption, which means it's not getting any volume, then the APR is going to be super low. But let's say that your pool has, good adoption, it has good product market fit, your APR is going to be really high. And as that APR gets higher, more liquidity enters, the APR comes back down, and it finds like an equilibrium.
Yeah, I mean, and that APR is going to ebb and flow
Right.
based on the activity. I mean, so
Exactly.
I would assume the APR most likely, assuming the pool gains more and more liquidity and activity, I would assume the yield at launch would be probably some of the lowest numbers because you're going to grow ideally activity and liquidity as time goes on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But like I said, that is a big takeaway from what we've done in the past with DeFi is not relying on inflationary incentives to get liquidity. Um, and the so like I said, your APR is going to be determined by product market fit and the
Don't
product.
die, bro. We got too many tickets still to clear out.
Yeah, right. No, I've had
I'll
this.
say,
I've been
I
nursing
don't even,
this. I've been nursing this cough for, I don't even know now, 6 weeks.
stress cough.
Probably a stress cough. Lot like and I'll get into this, but the amount of workload that we've taken on, and when I say we, I bit this off for the team. I'm sure they're thanking me somewhere out there. Um, the amount of workload is insane. We've built LeoDex, which should be a, something that takes most, teams probably 3 to 6 months to build. We've built it in like 10 to 15 days. So it's actually insane. And then on top of that, not just a UI for, Maya, but we've also built the Hive aggregator part, and we've also built the Arbitrum gas faucet. And we literally built the gas faucet was just something we decided to do like kind of last minute as well. Um, as we were testing the Hive swaps, and we were like, one of our goals is how do we give the ability for people on Hive to be able to use this stuff without having to interact or understand other blockchains? And which will, I guess, let's just take that opportunity to say this is another lesson that we've learned from the other DeFi projects we've done, is that especially with Hive people and Hive, the Hive user base, like we are very content with Hive. We're very content with no fees. We're very content with the usability of Hive and Hive keychain and all these things. Um, Getting a lot of people over to DeFi was a huge struggle. It was like a constant battle of like, okay, we got to teach you MetaMask, we got to get this going, this and that. There's gas fees you got to worry about, all the stuff. Um,
Yeah, that sucked. I
that
taught a lot
sucked.
of people too.
Yeah, and Nifty will tell you as well, it sucks currently in the present because now that we're doing the Cub sunset, everyone is coming back to DeFi and like, okay, now I gotta relearn how to use MetaMask so I can send my Cub to the burn address and convert to Leo power or Leo.
Yep.
So it is a huge hurdle. And one of the failures of Cub and PolyCub that we've learned from, which is that's why we ended up building the faucet. So the way that LeoDex's UI works is that you'll be able to swap L1 with Hive and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other assets, literally only using your Hive keychain extension. And you'll just create like a
Wow.
key store. Yeah, you'll create a key store on the website, which will be like a holding wallet. And then you'll also connect your Hive keychain wallet. And then you'll be able, so like, let's say that you want to do an L1 swap. Let's say you want to buy Bitcoin and use your Hive to swap. You'll connect your Hive keychain. You'll connect the key store that you make with LeoDex. And then you will put Hive in the input and Bitcoin in the output. And then if you don't have any gas in your Arbitrum wallet, we figured out this, kind of hurdle for adoption. You need gas in your Arbitrum wallet in order to do this Hive to Bitcoin swap. Um, and we were thinking about it. We were like, well, this is going to be a problem because Hive people don't want to learn new blockchains. They don't want to have to figure out, well, how do I buy gas, which is in the form of Ethereum, and send it to my Arbitrum wallet? So what we did was we decided literally last week, we were like, well, can we build a faucet so that if you are a Hive user and you're connected to LeoDex with Hive keychain, how can you get Arbitrum gas without using Arbitrum? So what we figured out is if you buy 10 Leo on, say BSwap or Tribal Dex, or let's just say you have Leo already, which pretty much everybody listening to this right now does, you'll be able to click a button on LeoDex and it'll send 10 Leo to the Arbitrum Leo bridge. And then that bridge will instantly give you it'll instantly give you about 75 cents worth of Arbitrum gas. So we call it a faucet. You click a button, it sends 10 Leo, and then you get 75 cents in gas on Arbitrum, and that is enough gas for you to transact on Arbitrum probably about 50 to 70 times. The cost per transaction is like a penny on Arbitrum, which is awesome. It's super cheap. It's like one of the cheapest L2s for Ethereum. But the key is as a Hive user, you connect your Hive keychain wallet. You do not need to worry about Arbitrum gas outside of clicking this one button that sends 10 Leo and then gives you gas. You literally don't have to worry about
So,
anything.
okay, which is awesome because at the end of the day, it's, you know, point and click user experience for the win.
That's the goal.
So, on your example, let's say you're converting, so what was it? You're converting 10 Leo into something.
You are, as a user, you're you're connecting your Hive keychain wallet, and you are seeing a button that lights up. So basically LeoDex will detect if your Arbitrum wallet doesn't have any gas in it.
Okay,
If you're trying to do a Hive swap specifically, it'll detect
okay.
if your Arbitrum wallet doesn't have any gas, and it'll say, hey, you don't have any gas. Here, click this button to get Arbitrum gas. and then it will open a Hive
Ah,
keychain.
gotcha.
Yeah, it'll open a Hive keychain window to confirm a send transaction to send 10 Leo. If you don't have any Leo, it'll tell you need to go get 10 Leo, which you can do
Gotcha.
really easily because you're a Hive user already. There's no fees on Hive. You know how to get, if you're listening to this, you know how to get Leo. It's
Okay, so that's
about
nice because
trying
there
to
you don't have
X.
to fucking
You
go
don't have to
figure out how to buy some Arbitrum and all
You
that.
don't have, well, and gas on Arbitrum is in the form of Ethereum. But like right now, like when
Oh,
I needed gas, and this is how we figured this out. I was testing the Hive swaps and I was like, wait a second, I don't have any gas in my Arbitrum wallet. I had to go to a centralized exchange that supports Arbitrum Ethereum. I had to send USDT to that exchange, convert it into Ethereum, and then withdraw it as Arbitrum Ethereum into my Arbitrum wallet. And then I was able to do a Hive swap. So we just sidestepped all of this stuff by saying if you have any Leo in your Hive keychain wallet, you can get Arbitrum gas with a click of a button. Um, and that is a key for
cool.
user experience. And like I said, one of the big lessons we took away from Cub and PolyCub was that, teaching Hive people how to use these other ecosystems is very difficult. And we want to make it just the most seamless possible experience you could imagine with low fees, really intuitive UI, and not having to go to all these different platforms and extensions to figure out how things work. So that's really been another big key takeaway. To kind of finish my point before about the liquidity mining, that was a big key takeaway for us is like there's not going to be like this huge liquidity mining thing where we're like, come here for 50% APR so we can get liquidity. Instead, we're going to focus on product market fit, which is the Hive aggregator. So in my opinion, the Leo Cacao pool is probably going to be one of the most efficient and utilized pools. So in DeFi, they call it utilizate, like pool utilization. I think the Leo Cacao pool is going to have one of the highest utilizations on Maya. The reason for that, one of the big reasons, in my opinion, is the Hive aggregator. So any Hive swap that is done, that this like gets me so excited to think about. Any Hive swaps, let's say you want to, swap native Bitcoin for native Hive in order, all the user sees on the front end of LeoDex is I put in Bitcoin at the top, I put in Hive at the bottom. It estimates how much Hive I'm going to get for my, $100 worth of Bitcoin. I click swap, and then it opens a couple confirmation windows. I click, 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 and then in less than a few minutes, I have Hive in my Hive wallet, in my Hive keychain connected wallet, and I swap Bitcoin for that. That's all the user sees. What's happening on the back end is that L1 Bitcoin is getting swapped into Cacao on Maya protocol, and then the Cacao is getting swapped into Leo through the Leo Cacao pool. The Leo is getting unwrapped to native Leo on the Hive blockchain. That Leo is getting swapped into swap.hive, and then the swap.hive is getting unwrapped to Hive in your wallet, in your Hive wallet. So you just went from uh, L1 native Bitcoin to L1 native Hive in literally a few minutes and a few clicks. But what's happening on the back end is really magical because every dollar worth of volume had to flow through that Leo Cacao pool. So, like we just said, the primary source of liquidity revenue as a liquidity provider in Leo Dash Cacao is swap volume. So, assume that there's any level of traction for this, and a lot of people start swapping Hive using LeoDex. All of that volume is going through that Leo Cacao pool. So now all those liquidity providers are earning massive yield from all that swap volume. Um, it's really incredible. And I think, especially with the, historical perspective, out there of, Cub and PolyCub and all the BHPD DeFi stuff we've done, I can talk about how amazing this stuff is and how excited I am and how I think it will reach, a massive product market fit. But at the end of the day, I don't think you should just take my word for it. And I think that a lot of people won't, because of, like I said, you have a couple failed launches, people start to think that nothing's ever going to work again. So I think when this stuff gets released into the world, I hope that people do a Hive swap and see how amazing it is from a technological point of view. And then hopefully, that gains some product market fit, and then we'll be proven right. Um, I'm really excited about how this stuff works and, being able to swap, L1 Hive. It's been, and I talked about this in that sunset post, the reason why we've done all this stuff, the reason why we did Cub, PolyCub, BHBD, Beehive, PHPD, Hive. The reason why we've done all this stuff and taken on such a huge burden is because I have a vision that Hive moves to decentralized exchanges and becomes widely accessible through these decentralized exchanges. And I've long talked about Thorchain, and I've been an investor in Thorchain for years now. And I've believed that we could make Hive, proliferate Hive on these decentralized exchanges and rails. And we tried to do it with we tried BHBD, Beehive, Cub, PolyCub. The whole idea was let's take Hive and proliferate to DeFi. And I think there were a lot of things that didn't work along the way of that. And with LeoDex, my vision is that we've learned a lot of lessons from that stuff, and we're carrying it into LeoDex. And I hope that we see success with this launch. And like I said, we're doing away with the whole wrap token thing. There's no more, BHBD or Beehive. It's literally native Hive that you're swapping. And then HBD will get added later on. And then we also just talked with the Splinterlands team about adding SPS and DEC. So you might be able to swap SPS and DEC L1 to L1. So in your splinterlands.com wallet, and you'll be able to swap with L1 native Bitcoin. And like I said, this is how we get product market fit. Every $1 of SPS that's swapped is also swapped through the Leo pool. So as that aggregator, Leo will be gaining all this volume. So it's going to be an interesting time. I'm very interested to see how we do from an adoption standpoint.
So, a couple questions, and first we'll kind of lead into the second. So, with all that going on and the fees being earned, and obviously, let's say as a user, I can pool in that whatever I'll call it farm for lack of a better word, and earn yield. Is Leo itself earning fees that is going towards anything like whatever, I don't know, burns or whatever? Like, is there any revenue generation for the Leo entity or no?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So it depends on the swap, but let's take a Hive swap, for example. So if you swap Hive for Bitcoin or Bitcoin for Hive, whatever Hive is included in the swap, Leo will earn a 0.5% Leo wrapping fee on each of those trades. And then in addition to that, there's a affiliate fee on Maya swaps. So Leo earns on every single swap you do on LeoDex.io. Leo will earn 0.45% as an affiliate fee of those trades. So that's like if you swap Bitcoin to Ethereum, so we're not even including Hive or the Leo pool in any way, shape, or form. You're literally swapping L1 Bitcoin for L1 Ethereum. Leo will get 0.45% of that trade, and it's called an affiliate fee as being a interface for Maya. So if you look at some of the other interfaces, Eldorado or Thor Wallet being examples, I think Eldorado earned like $35,000 in swap in affiliate fees in the month of March. And then I think Thor Wallet made like $70,000. Like it's nuts. The amount, and then and that's in Maya. If you go to like the big dog, if you go to Thorchain, Thor Swap, I think in the month of December made like $600,000 in affiliate revenue. So the potential for affiliate revenue is there. I mean, there is a ton of potential in terms of growing affiliate revenue. And that is revenue that you earn on any Maya related swap whatsoever. Doesn't have to be Leo, doesn't have to be Hive, just anything on Maya. And those swap that affiliate revenue, because I'm sure this is the follow-up question from a lot of people. That affiliate revenue is going to buy. So you earn affiliate revenue in like kind. So that means like if you swap Bitcoin to Ethereum, we earn the affiliate revenue in the form of Bitcoin. So every so often, automated, what's going to happen is the Leo affiliate wallet that earns all these different fees, which are coming in as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cacao, Rune, like all these different cryptos, like whatever's being swapped, we're earning a percentage of that. whatever comes in, it's all going to get converted. It's going to swap into Leo, and it's going to swap into Cacao, and then it's going to get permanently added to the Leo Cacao pool as liquidity. So imagine that the LeoDex UI earns like $10,000 a month in affiliate revenue. That means that $5,000 a month is going to buy Leo, $5,000 a month is going to buy Cacao, and then $10,000, that total amount is going to get pooled as permanent liquidity. And a big piece of that is with all the Hive swaps, every Hive swap has to go through the Leo Cacao pool. So in order to have product market fit, we need these swaps to be efficient from a slippage and a fee perspective. So I think one of our barriers to adoption is making these swaps as efficient as possible. And one of the main ways to make it more efficient is to have pool depth. So we need to have pool depth both for the Leo Cacao pool and for the Leo Swap.Hive diesel pool on the Hive blockchain. So these two pools, the liquidity in them is going to become extremely important. So like I said, the swap revenue, the affiliate revenue is going to be permanently buying Leo and just putting it in the pool. It's literally going to just be growing liquidity. So, we earn $10,000 a month. That's $10,000 that gets permanently pooled. Hopefully we start reaching those upper ends where like we get to like El Dorado levels and they're earning, over $30,000 a month. That's literally $15,000 in organic buying pressure, buying Leo, and then 15,000 for Cacao, and then 30,000 in the pool. And then we're also, like I said, that's for any, so we earn 0.45% on any Maya related swap. If we earn or if the user swaps Hive, we actually earn 0.95% on the swap. So we earn almost double or actually a little bit more than double the revenue when someone does a Hive related swap, because we're earning the affiliate fee and we're earning the wrap fee. So those wrapping fees, this isn't concrete yet, but I'm pretty sure this is what we're going to end up doing in the long run. We're going to take those wrapping fee revenues and we're going to use them to build the Leo Swap.Hive pool. So, all that affiliate, all that wrapping revenue will then build the Leo Swap.Hive pool. Meanwhile, all the affiliate revenue on Maya will build the Leo Cacao pool. So both these pools grow at the same time. And the reason why that is so important, both of these pools growing, is like I said, to make Hive swaps efficient from a slippage perspective, we need deep liquidity in those pools. So now we've got two organic sources of building liquidity in those pools permanently. We also discovered this, Addicted discovered this on the last AMA, that diesel pools actually have a 0.25% swap fee on every swap. And that swap fee gets paid to liquidity providers. So all the liquidity providers earn, a 0.25% of every single swap done in the Leo Hive diesel pool. So like I said, this is all organic liquidity APR. It's yield for liquidity providers, but it's all organic based on swap volume. So if you assume that Hive and SPS, DEC, and HBD as an aggregator, if you assume that Leo gains a significant market percentage of all these swaps, the LPs in the Leo Swap.Hive pool and the LPs in the Leo Cacao pool are going to get paid. They're going to get paid big APRs. And that is all based on product market fit. It is not liquidity mining. So like I said, a big takeaway from what we've done in DeFi in the past. I'm seeing a lot of questions from Luis88, but he said, will there be weekly affiliate transparency reports? I don't know. I mean, we could, but at the end of the day, this is all on the blockchain. Our affiliate wallet address is going to be published when LeoDex goes live, and you'll be able to just literally look at it on chain. So you'll be able to just literally pull it up on a block explorer. So, my goal is like, I love reporting. I love that, and especially if you go back to the earlier days of Leo, we used to do all sorts of monthly and weekly reports. As the team has grown, as the project has grown, as, the amount that we bite off has grown, reporting gets less and less frequent and it's not as reliable. So I would much prefer to have things directly on the blockchain. That's why I like to say, always put it on the chain. Yeah, so that address you'll be able to just check the address on a block explorer. He said any airdrops planned. We are planning a volume-based airdrop for LeoDex for the first 60 days of the launch. We'll talk more about that when LeoDex goes live. But this is mainly to try and spur up adoption. A lot of different UIs do this. So I think, nothing concrete yet until it goes live, which will, where we'll announce all the concrete details. But I think what we're going to do is, for every dollar volume swapped by your wallet on LeoDex, you're going to get some amount of airdrop, and that airdrop will be from the affiliate revenue. So maybe the first 60 days of affiliate revenue will be used for that volume-based airdrop. Like I said, we'll talk more about that when we actually go live. I don't know. He's asking a question about SPS and DEC L1, but SPS and DEC, they have their use case in the Splinterlands game, and you'll be able to swap them with any L1 asset listed on LeoDex. There's sneak peeks of LeoDex all over the place. I've posted screenshots for weeks, or I guess days. Feels like weeks.
So while we're on topic, it's not directly related, but it's still Leo based before we kind of gear back into um, Cub PolyCub, kind of just useful information, so to speak, as everyone does the transition. We haven't talked about, at least any of the calls I've been on. It's been a hot minute since we talked about um, ad revenue. How's that been doing? Are we growing? And is it burning Leo? And I don't even remember what we're doing with the ad revenue. Is that getting dropped to people?
Yeah,
My brain is forgotten.
every month at the beginning of the month, and I think the next ad revenue is probably going out either today or tomorrow. It's not clear. The ad revenue it's not burned. You got to catch up on some posts, Mitch.
I know it's not burned
It's
because
staked as
I've even gotten ad revenue drop.
it's staked
I
as
was part
Leo
of the first one.
power in your
Yeah, Leo
wallet.
Power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So, yeah, I think this
Okay, so
stuff
that's
is
still
gonna,
chugging along.
ad revenue has been relatively disappointing, especially since the switch over from Coinzilla to Google AdSense. The amount that they pay us based on our traffic is really disappointing. It's something I've been trying to work with them on increasing because it just doesn't make sense. Um, based on our traffic, we should be earning a lot more than what we are, which is only a few $100 a month. We should be, I've put our traffic into other analytics, platforms to guess how much of ad revenue we should be earning, and it should be in the $5,000 plus range, but we're earning like
Wow.
under $500. So
Wow.
that tells me that AdSense is not paying us correctly, or there's some other problem that I haven't figured out yet. So in the long run, I've always said that I want us to build our own native ad platform, which is what, X and Facebook and Instagram and all these other platforms, that's ultimately what they do, is that they have their own native platform for launching ads. And then you cut out the middleman and you end up earning a lot more revenue. I think based on our traffic, we could easily be earning over $10,000 a month in ad revenue, which would obviously go to buying Leo and doing the active stakeholder airdrops every month. So that's kind of my long-term goal for Leo ads, but ultimately it's based on traffic. We need to keep growing the traffic, keep growing the monthly active
Yep.
users. And I was talking to Eric about this yesterday because sometimes our KPIs get a little clouded because we're doing, the team is growing and we're doing so many different things at the same time. But ultimately, if you boil down the Leo ecosystem to one core KPI, it is monthly active users. That is the core KPI that leads to all the other KPIs. Because if we're growing monthly active users, that means that potential premium users are growing. If we're growing monthly active users, that means that ad revenue is growing. If we're growing monthly active users, that means that potential users of LeoDex are growing. So literally everything that we do can be boiled back down to monthly active users. It is the core KPI that leads to all other KPIs. And I need to do a better job of reminding both the team and the community of that, that it's all about the mouse. That's what we're all about. Despite, as we do more things, it's going to, like LeoDex is about to launch. You're going to be like, wait, what's the point of LeoDex? Why are we doing this when we should be growing our mouse? But they go hand in hand. And LeoDex, by the way, we're going out to the Maya protocol ecosystem where they have thousands of monthly active users, and now those monthly active users are potential Inleo monthly active users. So everything we do goes hand in hand, and I think that's the key of this everything app vision, where yes, we're building L1 swap rails, But ultimately, the goal is let's get more monthly active users. Let's also generate more, sustainable revenue streams for the Leo token, which ultimately grows the token. And if the token value grows, post payouts and thread payouts grow as well, which then attracts more monthly active users. And you kind of see how everything kind of feeds on itself.
Cool. Um, Before we transition into some, I think, useful tutorial info, there is a question that I'm more curious about if this even exists, period, in the world of um, liquidity pools. But Ajax asked, will there be an anti-impermanent loss mechanism linked to the Maya protocol liquidity pools? Is
Um,
that is that even a thing?
Yeah, Maya does have impermanent loss protection. I'm not sure yet if that's going to apply to the Leo Cacao pool. Actually, Nifty or Eric would probably know that better than I do. Um, so I know that they have it on certain pools. I don't know if it's going to apply to the Leo Cacao pool though.
All right, to TBD.
TBD.
All right, cool. So obviously, kind of talked about it earlier, and we should wrap that up because it is the topic of the day. Everyone's trying to burn their cub and burn their polycub and all the things, with this transition, so to speak. And obviously, everyone's overwhelmed. You know, Nifty and company is getting overwhelmed with tickets. You know, users are struggling to get it done. Everyone's frustrated, which makes sense. But at the end of the day, it's still a net positive because it's better than doing nothing and just watching Cub and PolyCub go to zero, which is essentially what every yield farming liquidity pool site has done outside of like the big three, Pancake Swap, Uniswap, and so on. Um, so net positive at the end of the day, despite everyone's frustration, even including mine. It hasn't been easy to figure out. I've been figuring it out though. Um, so the good news is it seems like most people have gotten a handle on burning Cub. Um, there's some outliers with that. Obviously, people that have Cub locked in the kingdom and it's still locked, that is an issue because you can't unlock to burn. I know for that, submit a ticket. So anybody who has Cub locked up in the kingdom, submit a ticket, and that is still getting figured out. But at the end of the day, it'll get done. Can't tell you when because I'm not on the dev team, so I have no idea. Um, as far as PolyCub, obviously I was asking about this pre-call. I have Vex PolyCub, I have X PolyCub. How do I burn that? Obviously, I can't unlock it, but since it is an actual token, there's a token address, and then we can just burn Vex PolyCub, burn X PolyCub, and then you guys will basically do the conversion on the back end and send said amount of Leo.
Exactly.
So I saw obviously in Discord there were some pinned posts with the Vex PolyCub address, and then I need to also find the X PolyCub address.
Yeah.
So obviously that could be posted somewhere, but you can hit the easy button and do it yourself. So
Right. And I was planning to record a video on this, but if Mitch is willing to share screen, we can do like a live walkthrough. And it's kind of a, teach a man to fish or give him a fish type of thing. Like we can give you guys the contract address and it's been done in Discord and in other places. Or we can show you how to find the token contract address, which is teaching you how to fish.
yeah, which I mean we can do that real quick. I mean I already have it queued up because obviously I prefer not to have my wallet address fucking pasted live.
Oh
But
yeah.
at the end of the day,
Well, I can just
at the
walk you
end of
through
the
it.
day, so
So, and then it'll be a good
yeah.
clip for
Well, no,
people.
I mean, I got no problem sharing my screen because I mean, I already have it kind of queued up.
Okay.
And I think it's a good lesson for people too because, you know, there's a lot of scam tokens that get airdropped to people's wallets
Yeah.
and you just don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, one thing that
So,
you know, and we talked about this at the start of this AMA, but being on Hive, you get kind of spoiled with, no fees and ease of use. And obviously We've all been on Hive for a long time. So you kind of get in this rut of like, you don't want to learn other things outside of Hive. Um, and, obviously we're building LeoDex in a way where it's, easy to use if you don't want to learn other things. And I think that's an important lesson that we learned from the other DeFi projects we've done. Um, but that being said, you are, as a Hive user, you're still in the crypto space. And I think there's a lot of value in learning these tools, learning how to use them for a lot of different reasons. These things are not going away. Block explorers are not going away. EVM blockchains are not going away. These things are really just starting to gain adoption and are only going to get increasingly more adoption over time. And I'm the type of person where I always love to learn new things. I love to like be curious and like, a new blockchain comes out and I start playing with their wallets and just seeing, how it all works. And it's fun to kind of figure that out. And I know that not everybody's like that. But a lot of these tools and these lessons are really valuable. So I think it's a cool thing to learn how to like go to, Polygon scan and, look at your wallet address, find a token address, and then learn how you can, use that token address and send it, swap it, do whatever. That's a valuable thing to
Yeah,
know.
especially because it's super simple at the end of the day.
Very
So,
simple.
I'm gonna share
Cool, let's
my
do it.
screen.
And if you are Alex and you are looking at this to get some clips, this is going to be a great clip for us. So hint, hint, wink, wink,
So
get us the clip.
exactly. So at the end of the day, I mean, you want to go to polyscan.com and then, in here up top, so you see an ad just popped up when I clicked in little that's a cute little drop down ad they have there
Yeah.
on Polygon Scan. But anyway, so yeah, you want to paste your wallet address in here, right? And then obviously, just whatever, hit enter, and then it pulls your wallet up. So I already did
Well,
that.
and sorry to
And
interrupt you, but just to make it super, super easy and clear, if you want to easily get your wallet address, because I know some people might ask questions like this, you would click that little fox icon, which is your MetaMask, and then it'll allow you to
yep,
copy your address, and then you
yeah,
can
you click,
paste it
yep.
in that search bar. So that's just like quick and easy. That's how you get your wallet address, put it in the search bar, and then you hit enter, and then you see this page.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, just click on MetaMask, and then when it pops up, you'll see your wallet address at the top. You'll see the little double page thing. You can click on that. They'll copy it for you, and then you just dump it in here. And then it brings up your wallet. So, and the funny part is, I didn't even realize this, right? I've been on Polyscan and you know, uh, BSC scan for years. Whatever, grabbing TXs and all that stuff, and never even realized that there was this token holdings drop down. Now, you'll see it says 135 tokens. That's just hilarious because I probably have about 4 tokens. A bunch of everything else in there is just airdrop nonsense and spam and phishing. And I like even in the drop down, it even has some that identifies as spam, like in parentheses. But there's some ones that didn't that I still am like, what is this nonsense? At the end of the day, it's all junk. And who knows, maybe something's not junk and it's worth $50 to me. I'm not risking my entire wallet for $50 and some random coin. So that's just a you know
Yeah.
general user
Quick.
warning. So if you do something in your wallet after finding this drop down, not our fault.
Yeah, not our fault. Quick,
Um,
quick
but
PSA.
anyway,
There is a way for, and this happens a lot, the reason why you get all these fake tokens, excuse me, is because they want you to try to swap them. So some of them have like fake values, like they're like $50 or whatever. It's actually real value, it's not fake.
yeah,
But what they want to happen is they want you to go to another swap UI, input that contract address, and then approve um, a token swap. And the reason why they do that is because once you approve a swap, it's called a spend limit. Once you approve a spend limit, they actually can steal money out of your wallet. So PSA, it's completely unrelated to what we're doing right now, but like I said, I just want to educate people a little bit more. If you are ever doing a token swap approval, I would be very cautious of what you're approving. That's a very important lesson in the world of EVM, where if you approve a amount in your wallet, then that UI, if that contract is exposed or anything like that, you could potentially lose whatever you approved. So another good practice is when you are approving a spend amount, you can approve like say 500 USDC. If your wallet has 5,000, then the max loss you have potentially if a contract were to get exposed is still only 500. So complete aside, side note, but continue.
which is a nice feature that, didn't exist a couple years ago in MetaMask. I remember when they added that, and it's great because it's like, all right, if I do something dumb, I can still limit my dumbness, so to speak,
Yeah.
in terms of the amount I approve, because otherwise, yeah, they could just clear house.
Yeah, you can be smart
So
about how you expose yourself. And Time Travelers also gave another good tip, which is something I've been doing as well, which I think is just good practice, is to use a burner wallet and keep your main wallet separate. So, like for example, I've got one hardware wallet that I use for like I call it my hot wallet. Like it's like for, live swapping and transacting. And then, for my bags, like where I don't move the funds, it's completely separate. So for example, I may swap, some Bitcoin into Rune, and I'll use my hot wallet to swap the Bitcoin to Rune, and then I'll send the Rune to my cold wallet, and then it just sits in my cold wallet, and I don't even have to connect my cold wallet to do all that. So that's another good tip, good general crypto tip.
yeah, no, it's general practices that everyone really should know.
Right.
So,
Continue
but yeah,
on.
and
Continue
this is,
on.
and again, these are so useful. Like I said, Polygon scan, BSC scan, hell, Ether scan. But yeah, once you bring your wallet up, like, and that's where we've been sitting now. You got this drop down and it basically shows you token holdings and you can search. So for instance, now I have Vex PolyCub. I want to burn my Vex PolyCub because I can't unstake Vex PolyCub. Like I said, we can burn the Vex PolyCub and then the team will do, the transition on the back end and, you know, get you your Leo and burn the Vex. So did Vex. I added Vex to my wallet already. I needed to add an X Polycub to my wallet though. So it's like, well, what's the address for X Polycub? So it's like, well, I have it in my wallet. So I just search X Polycub. I click on X Polycub, and then it brings me to X Polycub and token contract. Boom. So now I have token contract. So I can add this to my MetaMask wallet, right? So then I'll see my X Polycub, and then I'll be able to send that to the null address. So you just hit the little double page, boom, copy, and then I would go to my MetaMask, scroll to the bottom on the tokens, hit import token.
Right.
I drop in the token contract address, which is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you really need a visual of that. Just, if you've been in MetaMask before, at the bottom, when you scroll down your token list, um, you'll see import token, you drop it in, and it should usually populate for you. So, xpoly 3 decimals, you just say import, boom, puts it in, and then you should see it in your wallet. And at that point, you can send it to the null address to burn it just like you did with, your Cub or your regular PolyCub. And but at the end of the day, point of this was to basically to show people how you can find the token address for X PolyCub, Vex PolyCub, and the same holds true pretty much for any token that you hold in your wallet.
Right. It's definitely a good skill to know. To know how to find token contract addresses. And people have asked me for all,
100%.
yeah, people always ask, what's the contract address for, XYZ. And if you learn tools like this, you can, rather than have to ask and wait for an answer, you can find any token contract address you want.
100%.
And
And I was completely
CoinGecko
guilty
and
of
other
it.
places. Yeah.
Yeah, I was always like, I could find token addresses, but I was like searching for them. I didn't realize that like if I own that token, I could literally just go to this drop down. I'm like, how could I not know that after 5 years using these things? It's kind of actually pretty sad. I would find token addresses like major tokens or whatever. I would like just do by like kind of like searching. But when you have these more obscure tokens or these niche tokens, you can't do a general search really, through whatever it is, Google or whatever you use. So this is a clean, safe way to do it for tokens that you do own and
Absolutely.
getting the contract addresses. So I wish I knew about this years ago. I've A, would have spent a lot less time searching for shit, and B, would have bothered Cal a hell of a lot less.
Well, yeah, I mean
So
that's, it's the more you know. It's like there aren't the thing about crypto is like there's no, Bible, guidebook, roadmap. There's not one, textbook you can read and be like, now I know everything. It's like crypto is a constantly evolving creature. A lot of this stuff is changing. Like you said, some of these features weren't even available, a few years ago in MetaMask. Um, things are always changing, the location of things change. But when you understand like some of these more fundamental skill sets, I think it can really help you, in your crypto journey, not just, for this Cub PolyCub event, but, carrying you into the future. Maybe 10 years from now, Mitch will be, trading some token and looking for a contract address. And he'll be like, oh, wait, I can just go to Polygon scan and, find the token address. And that works for every EVM, by the way. Be a C scan, Ether scan, it works for all of them. And then obviously a lot of us are going to start using Arbitrum pretty soon. And theirs is called RB scan. So, it all
Hmm.
applies in the same way.
RB scan.
Yeah, the
I feel
nickname
like
for Arbitrum is RB, so you don't have to say Arbitrum all the time.
I feel like there's some memes that can go with that. I think someone should instead of the McDonald's hat on Cal's head, we should put an Arby's hat on Cal's head now instead.
That's funny. I like that. I actually
He's
like that.
he's he's moving on. He's moving on from McD's to Arby's. Got to get the steak sandwich. Cool. All right. What I'm trying to think of other PSAs, and it's funny too because I mean the reality is like I do these calls more often than not. Obviously, some Tuesdays I'm not available, but it's just like I am no different than any other end user. Like I'm not on the dev team, I'm not on the sport team, I'm not, anything outside of just another user. And the funny part is, I'll openly admit I do these calls for my own benefit in that this is my TLDR because I don't have time to read all the shit and be in Discord and literally like reading stuff on Inleo all day, every day. So I co-host this call literally as a TLDR for myself. That is literally the benefit I get from doing this. And that is the only benefit I get from doing this because I wonder how I'm viewed, from the Hive community in terms of Leo and blah, blah, blah. Um, because when I give my opinions, it's strictly from an investment standpoint because I look at Leo as an investment at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, I enjoy being part of the community, just like I enjoy being part of the Hive community. Um, so I always find that interesting because when I share my opinions, I'm like, I wonder what people think about this, and I wonder if they think I'm biased or like I'm whatever on the payroll or some shit. I mean, I'd like to be. Can I get on a payroll? Is that a thing? Um, but
We'll pay you in Cub.
right, there you go. Awesome. Yeah, all the Cub because I don't have enough of that.
Right.
Let's just say Cat went heavy on Cub, and unfortunately, yield farms weren't really the place to be.
No. But Cat's gonna get paid in Leo for it.
Well, I'll listen. I'm happy that I'm, obviously, the amount of Leo dollar wise is still, not exciting compared to, what was initially into Cub. But the good news is that now I have a token that has potential for growth. Because, Cub, not so much, but Leo, obviously that's the main focus. And, that's where essentially all the potential growth is based on everything that's happening.
Yeah,
So,
that was our
um,
our whole idea with it was, how can we, migrate everybody into, back into the mothership is kind of what I said in that post.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And it gives hope. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like as, because it's like, all right, Cub didn't work out. I lost some good money in Cub. That sucks. But now at least I'm going to end up with Leo and Leo has the possibility for growth. So, it's nice to know that there's a chance for my investment to grow once again, as opposed to with Cub, where it's like, well, odds are this probably isn't going to go much anywhere. And even if it does, the growth potential is nowhere near what it is with Leo. So I think because the reality is you could have just let the thing just essentially go by the wayside and die on its own.
Right. That which is
You know what
what
I mean?
most like I said, 99% of all platforms that launched in DeFi summer, like Cub and PolyCub, is um, that's exactly what happened. Is the founding team said, okay, well, this didn't work. They sold their entire stake and then, everything went to zero. Most of those tokens are literally worth zero. Cub and PolyCub managed to not be worth zero. I mean, they're still worth something. So, it's been it's been hard to figure out a good way to move forward. But I'm happy with what we ended up doing. And obviously we put it to a kind of like a Leo DAO vote, like an unofficial DAO vote with the Leo Power stakeholders, and it was pretty much unanimous to do what we're doing now. So I think all of you guys pretty much agree with the strategy behind it, which is, to get all of you Cub and PolyCub holders to hold more Leo, and especially to do it right before LeoDex goes live and Leo is listed on Maya. That's why we're doing all of this kind of simultaneously. And like I said, it's not for my own personal health that we're doing this all simultaneously. This has created
No, and at the
a
same
lot of
time,
sleepless
like the
nights
reality
and
is,
work.
yeah, 100%. And the reality is you didn't even have to do it. Like you said, you could just have let Cub and PolyCub just basically slowly deteriorate on their own and, bye bye. Like you don't have to do this transition, so to speak, which is causing a lot of work, 8,000 tickets, a lot of drama, a lot of complaining. It's almost like the no good deed goes unpunished. And yeah, it sucks that at the end of the day, it wasn't a successful program. And, obviously I'm not excited, but that's what most of the DeFi projects turned into. DeFi summer was exactly that. And then once the summer was over, it was like, oh crap. What do I do now? Um, but with that said, and I'm laughing because now I can see why this happens. So I'm not picking on you, Bitcoin 79. Um, just using it as an example because he literally just asked, "What about Vex Polycub at blocked?" Same exact thing. I mentioned it in
We
like
just did it.
the process of looking up X Polycub. Same thing. You grab the Vex Polycub Addy, you add it to your MetaMask, and then you'll see your Vex Polycub in your MetaMask, and then you send that to the burn address, and you're going to burn your Vex Polycub as opposed to, unlocking if you could and burning Polycub. You're going to burn the Vex Polycub. They're going to do the ratio transaction on the back end and send you the appropriate amount of Leo based off your Polycub that's calculated from the Vex Polycub. This is how it was explained to me, and now I'm explaining it to everyone else. So,
Pay it forward.
um,
Love to see it.
yeah. So, but this is, at the end of the day, like I know this because basically I asked Cal these same questions, and then he told me. That's the only reason I know this shit. Like literally asked him this question before we went live, which goes back to why I do these calls. So basically, before we go live, I can pester Cal with a couple questions. Um, like I said, it's my personal TLDR. Anyway, so um, I feel like that wraps all that up to an extent. Also, don't do anything dumb. Like the reality is, um, you know, yeah, Cub will still technically be operational. In theory, you can earn yield. What's that going to be? Probably not much since everyone's kind of, getting out of Dodge. But, while everything gets unwound, between BHD, B Leo, all that stuff, it's just like it's essentially going to be manual. Like the old bridge doesn't work, you know, you're going to unwrap, you're going to have to submit a ticket, you're going to have to wait. Is that ideal? Probably not. Do I prefer that? No, not of course not. I'd rather not wait a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. But that's what it is. So don't do anything dumb. Like don't expect to buy BHBD right now on PancakeSwap at 60 cents on the dollar and then unwrap it at $1. Like, no, you can't R BHBD right now. So don't try. Um, I've seen that DPEG happen a long time ago, and it's just like, all right, sweet. I want to unwrap BHBD. How do I do that? And then I was told, we're basically treating it like a power down so we can manually do this process and spread it out so it's not a hot mess. And I'm like, all right, whether I disagree with that process or not doesn't matter. That's essentially what the team's doing. That's the service I'm being provided. That's my only option. All right, that's fine. As long as at the end of the day, I can get my BHVD unwrapped to HVD. If I got to wait a total of 13 weeks, I got to wait a total of 13 weeks. Am I excited about it? No, but it is what it is. Not my fucking platform or, project. So at the end of the day, I can only choose between the options that I'm given, as long as I can be whole at the end of the day. So um, that is what it is. So public service announcement. If you buy any BHVD, expect to wait 13 weeks and expect to get the same amount of money that you spent on the BHVD back in HVD, not more. So just in case anyone stumbles onto Pancake Swap and sees that it's 60 cents per BHVD, there's not an opportunity to ARB. Don't get excited. You're basically just going to get your same money back, but have to wait 13 weeks. So figured I'd mention that in case anyone accidentally got excited about making a free 40% that isn't actually there.
Yeah, there's
Um,
been just to briefly talk about that. There's been a little up what would a little stir up, I guess you could call it. One guy basically made a blog post and said that Leo Finance, because he doesn't even know that we're in Leo, shows you how tapped in he is to the current status of things. Stole money from him. So there was that blog post that came out, and I, obviously jumped in the comments and was replying in there. But essentially, he said that we were stealing money. In reality, he bought, BHBD at a severe discount. And you guys all know this because you've been following the AMAs and whatnot. We installed this power down model, and we talked about how we were slowly unraveling BHBD. And if you bought it at the depegged price, post kind of attack on the pegs, reminds me of attack of the clones, but post attack of the pegs, if you bought BHBD, we honored the BHBD you bought at the dollar amount that you put in. So like, let's say you bought, 100 BHBD and you paid $60 for it. When you unwrapped the BHBD, we were giving you $60, which is the amount of money that you put in. We were not honoring the, 100 BHBD you unwrapped, but the $60 that you bought it for. So this one particular user got mad because he opened a ticket. He basically bought roughly 800 BHBD and paid like $450 for it. And then, when we told him that he was going to get 450 HBD, which he put in $450 and he was going to get around 450 HBD, when we told him that, he decided to think that we were stealing the, 800 minus 450, which is 350, $350 from him. Even though he put in 450 and he was getting 450. So instead of, kind of clearly stating that he was just not getting the arbitrage value out of it. So we effectively stomped on the fire of arbitrage. Like we took the oxygen out of the room, because ultimately the more that arbitrage was happening, the more that the pegs were getting attacked. So we wanted to stop that. And this was like 6 months ago. So now if you try to arbitrage the pegs, it doesn't work. We don't allow it. And the reason why is because we're unraveling BHBD, and ultimately the goal is to get all BHBD out of the float and burn it, and then sunset it. And that's what I talked about in the blog post on Saturday. But if you try to arbitrage it right now, you do not get the arbitrage value. You just get the value that you put in. So you can go out and buy all the BHBD that's out there right now. If you spend $10,000 to do it, you're going to get 10,000 HBD. But you might get 16,000 BHBD, unwrap it, but then you're still going to get $10,000. So whatever you put in is what you get out. We're doing this to make sure that users don't lose money, and we're doing this to make sure that the arbitragers don't continue to suck value out of the system. Like I said, we launched these things with the goal of decentralizing Hive trading. That was always our ambition. But the problem is we didn't get enough liquidity, and we are simply not big enough to launch our own wrapped, protocols. Like you look at like even wrapped Bitcoin, by the way, at the size that it is, the scale that it is, there are depeg events that happen on wrapped Bitcoin all the time. They're obviously a lot smaller and they don't last very long, but they do happen actually very frequently, probably on a weekly basis. And there are big, companies, hedge funds, I don't know who they are, I don't think anybody does, out there who actively depeg assets like wrapped Bitcoin in order to get, they call it MEV, minor extractable value, in order to kind of suck, they want to suck like 0.5% of value out of something. And we had the very same thing happen to us. The difference is, wrapped Bitcoin, they've got billions of dollars. We don't have billions of dollars. So, to us it was devastating. To them, it's just like another week, and they're able to kind of absorb those attacks and be okay. Um, so that obviously is the reason why we had all these deep pegging issues. And this particular user put out this post saying that we were stealing from them, when in reality this has been publicly talked about for 6 months now, that if you try to arbitrage BHBD, you won't get the arbitrage value, you'll just get what you put in. So put in $60, get $60. And to be clear, I commented on that post. I provided all the transaction links directly on BSC scan to prove that this guy was not losing any money. He was not getting his money stolen from him. That being said, our DHF proposal got unfunded just because of, obviously the negative press around this. So I hope to see that, once people kind of realize that, what's happening, the DHF proposal will come back, especially with the fact, the irony of it, and this is something that Elon Musk says a lot, is that the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. The funny thing is that we've worked for months to get Leo, Hive, HBD kind of into the Maya / Thorchain ecosystems. And literally, any week now, whenever Maya pushes this V109 upgrade, Hive, Leo, HBD, all of them are getting listed on these L1 rails, through the Leo Aggregator. And we're bringing Hive to a much broader ecosystem, and we're finally fulfilling that vision that I had of decentralizing L1 Hive trading. And in that same week is when all this stuff happens. So it's just kind of the entertainment value of what's happening right now is very high. But ultimately, I think it's really important that we continue to grow these things. And whether we have the DHF or not isn't going to impact our growth, in terms of, we're not going to stop because we don't have the marketing funds. So I'd like to see us get those marketing funds back, especially since we're literally conducting the biggest marketing campaign I think that's ever happened on Hive in terms of decentralizing trading. But yeah, that's my rant. That's part of mixing in with all the other shit that's going on with Cub, PolyCub, and building LeoDex in 10 days, and building a Hive aggregator, and building an Arbitrum faucet. We throw that into the mix too, because why not?
Super interesting stuff. I'm just like, the bridge has obviously been down for mad long, and then the vote proposal to do the Cub burn, has already had since passed, and obviously had almost unanimous support, very close. And then I'm looking at this, and it's just like, all right, great. I mean, I can understand maybe even if it's like, all right, you bought some BHVD like a month ago or some shit, but it looks like it was after all this stuff. So it's like,
No, it was. I
you
mean, it
know
was like
what
literally, let me
What I'm
swap
saying, like,
and
like that.
buy.
I'm just looking at
Yeah,
the timing of it, and it's just like, you know what it is, you know exactly what the fuck you're doing.
right.
Like,
No,
so now you're mad it didn't
yeah.
work.
Yeah, I mean, I think this particular user knew exactly what he was doing. And the thing that kind of like, I actually just realized this, I think yesterday, that he actually has an active BHBD power down from like 8 weeks ago. And then like a week ago is when all this other stuff happened. So, I mean, he very well knows how all this is
Oh,
working.
so he's been getting paid out BHVD on a prior
Yeah, he's on a
unwrap.
prior wrap. He's already getting paid out on a prior wrap
Oh,
unwrap. So
so
he
I
he
mean, this
knows
person clearly is more in the know than the average Joe. I mean,
for
he's
sure.
more clued in than I am because I don't have a BHVD. That's funny. I
Yeah,
wasn't even. That's interesting. Yeah, no, I'm like, this is news to me. I'm scrolling through the post.
I mean, it's unfortunate
I was
that,
able to track it down.
yeah, it's unfortunate that public opinion can be swayed so easily with someone making claims that have no actual, like, you'll notice in the post, there's no actual links to anything. There's no on-chain data of any kind to support what he's saying. But then if you go to the comment section, obviously, the Leo Finance account was commenting all the transaction links, and you know, clearly we
Well, I
have
mean,
the
it doesn't even
on-chain data
matter.
that matters.
Even if he supplies that, I mean, it doesn't change anything. It's like, all right, you bought H3D, you want to unwrap it for a 40%, you know, um, premium. You can't. And I mean, I get. I understand the whole, all right, there's this framework available, and I should be able to do this, even if it, hurts the platform providing it. It's like, well, cost of doing business. You shouldn't have that. But that's also why the thing ran out of liquidity and the bridge essentially shut down because the liquidity got completely sucked out. So I understand why, like, it basically didn't get turned back on. I wouldn't want to turn it back on either. And at the same time, how could you? Because you need liquidity, and there's no liquidity, and the liquidity just gets sucked out. So where's the liquidity coming from?
Yeah,
Fun
it's
times.
super
But
fun and it's all
whatever.
happening all at once.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I can't
In the
wait for,
meantime,
long
yeah.
story short, I can't wait for the unwind to be done. And we are almost at the end. I think I put in the post, I think we've got about 18,000 BHBD left to unwind. So not that much. So almost at the end.
The irony and all that is I actually have the that I need to unwrap. So I will
Yeah.
be submitting a ticket.
Yeah, and when you so here's the process. So when you submit the ticket, we're going to ask for the unwrap transaction, and then we're going to look through your account history and figure out what price you acquired that BHBD at. And because I know a little bit about your account history, I know that you were around the peg because you've had that BHBD for a long time. You didn't just go out and buy it, a week ago. So when you go through your unwrap, you're going to basically get a one for one value on that BHBD. Because
Yeah, my
it's based on what you got it for.
yeah, my BHBD was from because I had it in the pool. Like that's
Right.
the only reason I have it now is because I unstaked out of the pool. So I've had that for, you know, essentially since inception.
Right.
Um,
And I don't
and
even
if
think you bought the BHBD, right? Like you bought HBD and wrapped it to BHBD.
yes.
So then we're gonna find
Oh
those
yeah, I never bought.
transactions.
I don't. I mean, and I'm trying to think if I ever on Pancake Swap bought any BHBD. I know I sold some, kind of like experimenting because I was like, wait, what is this? And not even I sold a little bit. I think I don't know. I'm gonna say a month ago. Um, kind of not even realizing that there was that big price difference. Um, I think I kind of just like had a brain fart, and I think I sold like I don't know, I'm gonna say a few hundred or whatever, just kind of as like a test, um, because I was looking to free up some funds to grab some more Bitcoin. And I might have ended up accidentally actually selling some at that like 40% discount. Um, or I feel like it was less than that though. I don't think it was that steep, but there was definitely like a gap that I didn't probably realize because I wasn't paying attention much.
Yeah.
But
And I
yeah,
guess the point there is that, like people are going out there, I guess people, but there's like less than a few people that are complaining about this because they're, misinformed or purposefully kind of trying to spread misinformation, which I think this one particular guy is because of, the fact that he's already got an unwrap in process for 2 months and then says that all this stuff. But the point there is that you're not losing any money because you wrapped the BHBD to HBD, or sorry, you wrap the HBD to BHBD. And now when you go to unwrap, we're going to honor whatever the value was at the time of your wrapping. Um, and that is the difference between you and someone that is buying BHBD right now, hoping to make a instant 40% profit, from the losses of others. So there's a key difference there. Um, so
yeah. So PSA, unwrap your PHBD. Don't try and sell it on Pancake Swap.
yeah. Well, and Simple Game said, is it really public opinion being swayed or just a handful of old bidbot milkers? Can't wait to outgrow that crowd.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a handful of
Diving into
people that
Hive
are
politics.
originating this. Yeah, I mean, it's super Hive
You know what's funny
politics,
about all
but
this is that I've obviously been, I mean, shit, I was, around when we were back when it was Steam. So I've been on this blockchain since 2016. And, there was plenty of opportunities for me to go all in and become a fucking whale. But crypto's always been, this second, love for me after real estate, because real estate's essentially how I pay the bills. So I find it amusing when it like, and I've always stayed out of it all. I'm like, I'm not going to be involved in this enough to want to care about the politics. And, and I saw at the beginning when I got onto Steam and it was like right after that pre-mine or whatever the hell it was. I just remember I missed being a steam whale by like a month, essentially. Because everyone that was there before me ended up getting like this shitload of steam,
Yeah.
which obviously transitioned to Hive. So I was like a month late from a game-changing experience. But anyway, I still could have done it, you know, manually, so to speak. And sometimes I've even been tempted to because, when people are just annoying and I think are a net negative on the Hive blockchain, there's been times where I'm just like ready to sell all my real estate and just buy a shitload of Hive just so I can fucking throw weight around.
Yeah.
But that'd just be dumb because now I'm at the mercy of the price of Hive, which F that, because that's not something I can control as opposed to, my real estate. It's like I can somewhat control the value of that based on, what I do with the properties. Obviously there's still a market that moves up and down on its own, but less volatile than crypto. But it's just all entertaining to me. For someone that's been invested in this blockchain for, you know, creeping up on shit 8 years, which is crazy. And also looking at it is, and I'm gonna say this right now, and I don't say this, in a negative way, but in the almost 8 years I've been involved in crypto, as far as like L1 tokens, straight blockchains I've been invested in. The funny part is that I've stayed involved with Hive for this long because Hive is hands down, just from a financial investment perspective, my worst L1 token investment in my crypto career. Like I would have been better off leaving Hive back in 2016 and just putting my money anywhere else that I've invested in than staying in Hive. But I did make friends on this blockchain. It keeps me engaged in the blockchain. I enjoy Inleo. I enjoy posting. I don't post as much as I used to. I used to post every day. Now I post probably like twice a week. Because I'm at the end of the day also a writer. I enjoy creating content. I have burnt out on that to an extent, which is why I do less of it. But that's one of the reasons I stayed around. And the only thing that ever made me want to step away is, the annoying politics, so to speak, because at the end of the day, distribution has gotten better over the years, but it's still nowhere uh, to a place where you don't still have a dozen people at the end of the day controlling what happens on the Hive blockchain. And that's not to say anything bad about those people. That's just to say, at the end of the day, is that really the goal? Because that's no different than non-crypto environments, you know what I mean, and general society. And that's the whole point of decentralization, to get away from that, where you just have a handful of people that essentially at the end of the day are dictating what happens. And who knows, maybe decentralization isn't better. I've always had this theory about too many cooks in the kitchen. Sometimes if you want to get shit done, you just need a few decision makers, for better or worse. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm actually rolling in this experiment out of curiosity because I want to see what happens when we get truly decentralized, where that leads, if shit can actually get done, or if it's something where it's just like a lot of spinning wheels because you need a majority agreement, and that doesn't happen often in things. So the experiment in itself is one of the things that keeps me interested and engaged. And also, I'm curious to see what Inleo can become um, at the end of the day. And if this whole blockchain decentralization thing is going to become prevalent in society or if it's not. So I don't know, just random brain dump from the cat. Been a while since I've done one, but it's certainly an entertaining ride, and that's kind of why I'm on it. But at the same time, I don't try and get too wrapped up in the politics because, yeah, I'm invested in, Leo and the Hive blockchain, and I want to see those do well. But I guess it's not enough where it's going to be my main focus, where I want to let myself get wound up based on all that nonsense.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to the big players,
Yeah. I mean,
which
go ahead.
Cal doesn't have a choice but to be wrapped up in it.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Like Hive is an interesting place. And the thing that I enjoy about it most is not necessarily the financial aspect of it. Because, it's there's a lot more to Hive than just, hey, buy the Hive token and sit on it, which is what most other cryptocurrencies are about and have been about, which is, hey, you buy the token, you put it in a wallet, and then you start going on Twitter and talking about how much you love that token and hate other tokens. And that's really the extent of a lot of different cryptocurrencies that are out there. Hive has always been different and unique in the aspect of like you can be active on the Hive blockchain and actually kind of build like a digital life, which many of us have done on Hive. And completely outside of, financial, gain. I mean, there obviously is a lot of financial aspects to it, and we all make posts and hope to earn rewards and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more to Hive than just, earning and making money and holding a token. I think we all kind of know that. That's actually what drew me to Steem way back when, is like, hey, here's a cryptocurrency I can buy and earn yield on, which, back then was completely unique. It was like, hey, like you can earn an income here. You can buy Steem and stake it and then, upvote people and earn yield. This was way before DeFi and stable coins and, DeFi platforms and protocols and pools and all that stuff. I mean, this was like the days of, hey, I buy Bitcoin and I put it in a wallet and I look at it because it's fun. Completely different. So, yeah, I mean, it's, a simple game said the community and friends keep me here. Definitely the thing that keeps me on Hive is that I believe in the technology here. I think it's really important. I think it's really valuable. And, when you look at other blockchains and you consider, can a platform like Inleo be built on another blockchain like, Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum, all these different chains? The answer is no. It can only be built on Hive. Hive is really valuable and important from a technology perspective. I wish we could do away with all the politics. I absolutely hate politics, and I've always stayed away from Hive politics. And then obviously when we decided, hey, we want to expand the marketing budget and be able to onboard the next generation of Hivers using Inleo and kind of supercharge everything we do by, bringing some funding into the mix, that obviously kind of got us into the politics game, for better or for worse. And then obviously we've also got the Leo Witness, which is like, I don't even know, like ranked 26 or something. We're not even a top 20 witness, yet we are, I think, out of all the interfaces and apps in the Hive ecosystem, we're like top three. But we, can't make it to the top 20 just because of political things. So, and Task is saying you can tell the difference between builders and business people versus market players. Those who focus on price and finance are not builders. We need more builders. Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to focus on building and staying away from the political landscape because it's very distracting. I mean, even the past couple of days with all this other, nonsense that we just talked about, I've been extremely distracted by it. And I've just been trying to kind of like keep it to the side and not think about it too much because, we've got LeoDex on the verge of getting released. Last month we pushed like 45 GitHub issues got closed for the inleo.io UI. We added a new dev to our team last month. So we've been, training him and getting him up to speed. The building that Leo is doing has never been, at the pace that it's at right now. We're working harder and faster than we've ever done before. So yeah, the point is I try not to let the politics get in the way of everything else. Do I wish that Leo was viewed more? I kind of was joking with Eric in DMs that Leo is like the ugly stepchild of Hive. We do all these great things for Hive and we build technology here and, we try to build value. And, with LeoDex's launch, we're trying to get Hive proliferated onto decentralized exchanges. But we're treated like the ugly stepchild and we always have been. And that kind of sucks. But, I think that chip on our shoulder also gives us an advantage. So I'm very happy with how things have been going, within the Leo ecosystem. And, that is despite the things that happen, on the political side of things.
Fun times.
Super fun, always fun. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I was scrolling through the comments, and I mean, it's more comments than questions. We covered obviously a good amount of questions, but it doesn't matter because it's freaking 2 o'clock and it's just time to go because we've been on a while and got things to do.
Cool. Yeah, I think we covered things pretty well. Glad we got the tutorial in. Glad we got to talk about the sun setting and all the lessons learned and how that affects us going forward. Taskmaster said politics is solved with more stake. Unfortunately, I mean, unless you can buy, 20 million Hive, I don't know that you can have enough of an impact. Unfortunately, but maybe that happens over the long run. Um, but yeah, glad we could talk about all that stuff and clear the air on a lot of things. And then yeah, I mean, we're waiting for V109 for Maya. I right now the team is absolutely grinding on the LeoDex UI and the aggregator and the faucet and all the things that go into that. But when V109 gets pushed on Maya, we are going to be all systems go for the Leo token getting listed on Maya protocol. And then simultaneously, we'll be launching the LeoDex UI, and the Hive aggregator will come probably within 24 hours of that. So you'll be able to swap L1 Hive for any L1 token that you want, or vice versa. So exciting times ahead.
Nice. Well, another day, another block.
Very true.
So,
All
but
right.
yeah, I'm just like looking at these comments, and yeah, Lewis is like, Hive needs to be easy for the average Joe. It's like, well, and Leo is one of the few staffs that are trying to make it user friendly.
We try.
And then
We
yeah,
got the light accounts.
building simple games that they built their new gaming marketplace on Hive, due to the tech. So that's good. As Tess said, we need more builders.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some of the most
So
incredible talent, incredibly talented builders are here on Hive. So if we can get the politics out of the way, then I think a lot of positive things would happen. So we'll keep
well,
building. We'll keep putting the bricks in. Maybe one day we
yep.
maybe one day we'll graduate from ugly stepchild to, you know, something more than that. But who knows? Doesn't really matter
Let's
to me.
go.
We'll keep building what we build.
Crypto bull market makes everyone happy.
That's what we're hoping for.
All right. Well, hopefully next time I see everyone, Bitcoin's at 80K.
We would love to see it.
All right,
All right.
guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, everybody. We'll
All
see you
right.
guys next week.